The English decided to call our laws the Mohammedan laws. In fact, that is one issue we want to raise with Parliament, because we want all laws called Mohammedan laws changed. They should be called Muslim laws. We don't have anything like Mohammedan law. Lakini Wazungus decided. So it's only limited to those three issues. I can go to the Qadi's courts on anything to do with marriage, any matrimonial problems. He has jurisdiction to deal with that. The Qadi also has jurisdiction to deal with dissolution of marriage, which under Islamic law we call talaq. It's there, divorce, or inheritance, distribution of the estate of a Muslim, where a Muslim dies, leaves an estate, the heirs will get their shares strictly in accordance with Islamic law, and the only judicial officer who is qualified to do that is the Qadi. And again, I want to say here, he doesn't have exclusive jurisdiction. You can still appeal against the decision of the Qadi, because this is a subordinate court. But we know how intricate the Islamic law of inheritance is. A person has to be conversant with Islamic law to be able to handle issues of inheritance. Unfortunately, many Muslims think that you must always go to the Qadi's courts for you to distribute your estate. I'll tell you it is wrong. The only place you are obliged to go to is to the High Court to get letters of administration. Once you get the probate, then if there is no dispute, you can have the estate distributed without you petitioning the Qadi's courts or going to the Qadi's courts. It's only when you have a dispute, you disagree, then you go to the Qadi's courts for directions. So that is the jurisdiction of the Qadi's courts. So don't take a thief there for crime. When you are assaulted by somebody, when a woman is battered by the husband, or the husband is battered by the wife, you don't go to the Qadi's courts. You go to the other courts, because Qadi doesn't have that jurisdiction. Again, if you look at our current constitution, it is subject to two conditions. One, both parties, all the litigants, let me say not both, because sometimes you might have more than two parties, all parties must profess the Muslim faith. If let's say today, God forbid, my wife becomes, reverts or goes back to another religion, then we cannot go to the Qadi's court. Because Qadi's courts will only have jurisdiction where both parties profess the Muslim faith. So that is condition number one. And that's why we were saying during the debate, the non-Muslims need not worry about the Qadi's courts, because a non-Muslim will never be dragged into the Qadi's courts. You will not be taken there. Nobody will take you there because of that condition, which is very clear under Article 170. Then something else was added that was not there in the old constitution, submitting to the jurisdiction of the Qadi's courts. So besides being a Muslim, you must also submit to the Qadi's courts. So somebody can come and say, I recognize the Qadi's courts, but I do not submit to the jurisdiction of the Qadi's courts, and cite that in the constitution, and you are free to go to the other courts. But still, if you are a Muslim, unless you renounce Islam, if it is matters that are allowed to be handled Islamically in this country, again you will be taken back to Islamic law. So it is subject to those two conditions. What laws does the Qadi apply? For example, I have a divorce issue, a matrimonial problem with my wife. I'm not maintaining her. And you know maintenance under Islamic law, whether my wife is earning $1 million and I'm earning 5,000 shillings, maintenance is upon me. She takes me to the Qadi and says, I earn $1 million shillings, he earns 5,000 and he's not maintaining me. What law will the Qadi apply? He will apply the Islamic law on maintenance. Under Islamic law, who is under an obligation to maintain the other spouse? So the substantive law applicable in the Qadi's court is the Islamic law. What procedures will the Qadi follow? And I keep on telling people, some of our colleagues who have never gone to the Qadi's courts, they ask me now, how are we going to present evidence in the Qadi's courts? It is not any different from any other court. You just go there, examination in chief, after filing all the papers that are required, this cross-examination, taking oath. So the procedures in the Qadi's court are the same as like in any other court, governed by an act of parliament, the Civil Procedure Act. Okay? I know under the Qadi's Court Act, Cap 11 of the laws of Kenya, I think the chief Qadi was required many years ago to come up with the rules of procedure. in the Qadi's courts. But the Chief Justice, oh, not the Chief Qadi. We hope our new Chief Justice will come with that, but he has to be pushed a little bit by the Muslims. The Act says very clearly that the Chief Justice is supposed to come up with rules of procedure that will be applied in the Qadi's courts. Because sometimes, if you strictly go by the civil procedure, sometimes you might infringe the Islamic law. So they are supposed to come up with that. But until those rules of procedure are in place, the Qadi applies the Civil Procedure Act. So we have to know that. So the substantive law is Islamic, the procedure is the civil procedure. Okay. This question, in fact, I'm posing it to Farah. Why pick on women? Why did we talk about the challenges facing men when they are accessing justice in the Qadi's courts? Why did we pick on women? Simple, because number one, our host today, Mothers Love Foundation. If you look at their objectives, their business is to empower the empowerment of women. Just like FIDA, I cannot go to FIDA and complain, tell them, no, you have to help me. They have certain objectives. FIDA was formed to help a certain section of the community. So it's because MNF is about empowerment of women. That's why we picked on men. If there is another organization that will stand up for the rights of men, then we can pick what are the challenges. Because believe me, even men, Muslim men, face a lot of challenges when they go to the Qadi's courts. They also face, for reasons that I'll be explaining, I'll be sharing with you. Most of those who go to the Qadi's courts, I can tell you, I've been practicing for the last 17 years. Most of the people who go to the Qadi's courts are women. I don't know, the Chief Qadi, whether that is right or not. Yeah, it is right. Go to any Qadi's courts. You go to Mombasa, you find a long queue. You know, I went to Garissa. It's pathetic in Garissa. You know, the way now I know they have a new courtroom, but it was bad. The whole corridor was filled with women standing there. You know, maybe they've come there 2-3 days standing there. So most of those who go to the Qadi's courts, those who badly need the Qadi's courts are women. They are the ones. And there are reasons for that. You find our society, let's face it, we Africans, we are patrilineal. And there is that, what do you call it, the stereotype. Like I know, among the Somalis, among whom I've been working for the last 5 years on FGM, I'm not advocating for FGM, anti-FGM, she knows that, I'm against it. You find issues like inheritance. A man dies, leaves a large herd of cattle, then the men share among themselves, the women get nothing. They don't get anything, you know? And they will tell you, this is Islamic law. I don't know where that has come from. I was surprised. Among the Somalis, the issue of dowry. Today, if a Muslim, a Somali woman, a married one, is given her dowry by her husband, she will be very sad that day. Because she will say, this is a sign that he wants to divorce me. Because dowry is only given in 2 instances. We know during the marriage, dowry is mentioned. I'm marrying this lady, and this is her dowry. This is my gift to her. It is put on paper. Do you know when it is paid? When she's being divorced or when the man dies. That is when it is paid. Our sister is here, she's from that community. So they believe that it is deferrable, it is allowed by Islam to be deferred. But until when she is divorced, that's when it becomes due. So somebody wakes up in the morning, he's in a good mood, he has made some little money, tells the woman, my wife, here is your dowry. She might even refuse. Now this is a sign of divorce, I'm being divorced. Or maybe the man is dying, you know, something like that. We've created that. The dowry, how much dowry should a man give? Rukia, you will correct me, my little Kisomali. They will tell you, Afar Kalmun, Lavachir Kitab. Afar Kalmun, these are 4 heifers, and each one of them is 2 years old, Kitab, and it is from the book. Now I ask them, which book are you referring to? They say the Quran. I am yet to see that verse that limits the dowry to 4 heifers, and all of them have to be 2 years old, and it is from the Quran. It is not there. They have fixed it, you know. So you find women, there are many examples to show that women actually need the Qadi's courts because they are the most oppressed in the society for many reasons. Cultural, the upbringing, our society as Africans, the way we look down upon even the Asians. I've been in Pakistan.